Hey there gardeners, Chris from Steading here today. I wanted to put in some rhubarb. Now rhubarb's a really interesting kind of plant because it's actually got some commonalities to asparagus, not so much in the plants themselves, but in the way you buy them, which you can grow them from seed. However, you can buy crowns, which will obviously be a great way of getting started with a little bit more of an established plant quite quickly. And it also means when you're talking about something with a crown like this, these get divided every, say, I think it's 5 years or so. And as a result, you can probably get some free rhubarb from somebody you know who's been growing them for a while. Now, I had been asking a family member, who I'm not going to shame by name, for some rhubarb for quite a while, and they kept promising it to me, but I never got some. And so what I did instead is, at a local nursery near Warhope, I actually bought these rhubarb here. And I think these are a red dragon or a dragon red rhubarb. So they should be ideal for the location because they're from someone local in a very similar climate to me. And all it should be is a matter of planting these. I've had them a little bit long, and so while the roots are still looking pretty good and I just put them in water yesterday, they may not be the healthiest of rhubarbs ever. And I may have just waited too long to get them in the ground. Obviously, if you're buying something like this, it's good to get it into a spot in the garden ASAP, I'd say. We're still just in the very end of winter, which is the ideal planting time for a rhubarb crown. And I've got a spot here, which I think will be good. And the reason I've picked this spot here is because it's the end of this garden bed before the next garden bed starts. It should get really good sun in summer. In winter, it's a little bit limited, but that's when this particular plant will be basically hibernating and building up energy for that spring growth. And I've done a pretty good job, I would say, with the soil here in making sure that it's got the good stuff in it, which will hopefully work well with my rhubarbs. So I'm going to put one in here, and this is going to be the start of this particular garden bed. One of the things I do need to kind of keep in mind is the shading between garden beds, which is probably going to come into play. By planting it here, directly behind it is a bit of a gap between the other garden beds. I might even put one in just over there. And then I've got a great spot which is going to relate to a companion planting that I'm going to put one up further back. And that's a spot that I think is pretty proven. And so let's get this one in for now. Rhubarbarum. Anyway, I've destroyed that name. Information about the rhubarb. So you can grow it from seed or plant crowns, as already mentioned, and you should expect to wait 2 years to harvest. Basically, it is a little bit like asparagus in that you want to get it established in the ground, and you don't want to just kill it by taking all of the stalks that first year. You want to either leave it for a year or be very, very sparing with taking stalks in the first year. And at 5 years, you may divide the plant after that, which will obviously give you the opportunity to share it with other people, which is pretty cool, or to add extras to your garden. Now, this may actually apparently grow year-round in some locations. I don't think that's the case here because they've all been basically very, very much dormant through the winter period from all the ones I've seen sold. And as far as the placement as to where you're going to put this, full sun or part shade. And it has been mentioned that these are a cool kind of weather plant. And so if you're in a very, very hot area, they may not work as well. Again, I've bought a local successful variant, so I'm not so worried about that, but that may be something to think about. Well-drained, rich soil in organic matter, and that is what I've done in most of these garden beds. Lots of water with an eye on avoiding crown rot, so you need to have the drainage there. They do need well-drained soil, as just mentioned. Now, obviously, as a first-time gardener planting the rhubarb, I've looked for some planting tips, and what I found online was that I want to make sure that basically the top of my crown is at that top of soil level, because obviously we've got the roots down here and you can have the plant growing up out of it, and the crown rot is a bit of a concern if you plant this too deep, and also if you mulch over the top of it. So from what I saw, it did recommend not over mulching over the top of it because again, it can capture all of that moisture. The ground here, the soil here is quite moist, even though I put perlite, I put in vermiculite to try and give it a bit more of an airiness, but also maintain a bit of water. But it's possible this is going to be a little bit too on the wet side. However, I think my other position is probably going to be a safer bet. but I'm pretty happy with this spot here. We'll move on to spot number 2 and we'll have a look at that companion plant I was talking about. Okay, so I'm here in the side of my asparagus garden bed. And so apparently asparagus and rhubarb are a good companion plant. I think part of that is because they're both perennials. They both kind of come up at the same time of year. I do think one of the things that was mentioned is that the asparagus having deeper roots does help break up the soil for that breathability and the drainage. And I did think that this was one to give a try to, not only because obviously these were suggested as good companion plants, but also because I have a spare corner in this asparagus garden bed which doesn't have anything in it. And I do feel like not putting all of the same plant in a garden bed is a good idea. So we're going to pick out of these two. I think this is our better crown out of these two. And we're going to put it in the corner here. And this is a nice, really sunny spot. In winter, there's a little bit more shade, but again, it's not so much of a concern because that's not really when it's going to be growing. And we should be able to get rhubarb growing in here really well in with our asparagus. And quite excitingly, we've got another 2 weeks of winter to go, but some of my asparagus are already sending up some new shoots, which I'm quite surprised by. Funnily enough, the crowns that I bought for my asparagus that I thought would be really the standout, they're still dormant, but the seedlings are doing better, and the other random plant I bought is doing better as well. So there you go. Now you can also grow these in a large pot, and the recommendation there is in a size of 50 centimeters by 50 centimeters, which is about 2 foot by 2 foot. One other recommendation I have seen, and I'm not really at this stage yet, is do not cut your stalks. It's better to basically break them off. And again, as I've already mentioned, don't take all the stalks because that is what produces the energy for the plant. And obviously with the leaves, they're doing the photosynthesis. They send the energy back down to your crown, and that's what keeps everything going. The important point to note is that those leaves are poisonous or toxic, and I think they can even cause liver damage, something like that. It's either liver damage or kidney damage or something like that. So you are not eating the leaves, you're only eating the stalks, and generally those stalks turn red, as I imagine will be the case with this variety for me. However, it does change by variety. Some may have a more green stalk, some may have a more red stalk, and in some cases, apparently the stalk colour relates to the climate. So in a cooler climate, it's going to be more red. So there we go. We've got our 2 main rhubarb crowns planted and ready to go. I still need a spot for this one. I reckon I'm just going to chuck it in one of my other garden beds and just really see how it goes. I might even chuck it in this one behind me. I've got a couple of garden beds which are kind of underperforming. They don't have the best stuff planted in them. And yeah, I'm not so worried about them because either they're not in a great position or whatever. And because this one's not looking very healthy, and this was the original crown I bought, I kept it for way too long, and then I bought 2 more crowns, which are the ones I planted today. But this one is looking very, very sad indeed, and maybe it's past its use-by date. But we'll give it a try in the ground anyway, because you never know. There's no point wasting it. It did cost, I think, $12. Not the cheapest things to buy. And yeah, I'm still pretty excited to see if we can get some rhubarb, because I'm not a huge dessert cooker, but my wife is really good at cooking desserts and puddings and things like that. And I reckon she'll be able to do some killer dishes with some fresh rhubarb. So we'll see how we go. And I'm also going to be putting in some other stuff that might cook up well with it. Also stay tuned. Next video is going to be basically talking about companion plants for my rhubarb and what I'm going to put in with it, because I think that is another really cool thing that you can do when you're kind of doing a planting theme. Not only think about what you're going to put in, but think about what you're going to put in around it that is complementary in some way. Obviously, there's lots of different aspects as to why those recommendations are made. And yeah, that video is going to be out very, very soon because I feel like that's a really interesting topic as well. And obviously here with my rhubarb going in with my asparagus, that's already 1 companion plant that we've done.